So in case of hypotonic solution, solute concentration of cell much greater than the solute concentration of outer environment. So it is a in case of hypotonic solution, the cell cytosol content much greater solute than the outer environment. So there is a chance of the movement of water from outside the environment inside the cell. It leads to swelling of the cells. So swelling of the cells in case of hypotonic solution, because water enters inside the cells and ultimately cell burst, and this is called as osmotic lysis. So in case of hypotonic solutions, there is a chance of osmotic lysis. In natural conditions, the cell have to face osmotic lysis because the cell contain different types of biomolecule, as you can see from this diagram. On the other hand, the outer environment contains late solute. That is why there is a chance of movement of water inside the cell from the outer environment, and the swelling of the cell occur, ultimately cell burst, and this phenomena is called as osmotic lysis. So how do cells prevent from osmotic lysis? We discuss later. So the water enters inside the cells and it creates pressures on the plasma membrane of the cell, so ultimately the swelling of the cell occur, and it leads to the lysis of the cells, and it is called as osmotic lysis, as we know. Now, so cell have to protect themselves from osmotic lysis. So how do cells protect themselves from osmotic lysis? So cell use different types of mechanism to prevent osmotic lysis. So cell use different types of mechanism to prevent osmotic lysis, like plasma membrane of bacteria and plants is surrounded by rigid non-expandable cell wall. And what is the role of this cell wall? Different cell wall play different types of role, but here we discuss on the purpose of rigidity. So this rigid structure prevents osmotic lysis. This rigid structure mean the cell wall prevent osmotic lysis. So in case of bacteria and plants, the plasma membrane of bacteria is surrounded by the rigid non-expandable structure that is called cell wall, and this rigid structure prevent the cell or protect the cell from osmotic lysis. Now in case of freshwater protist. So in case of freshwater protist, so there is a important organelle is present. So there is an important organelle present called contractile vacuole. So what is the role of the contractile vacuole? Contractile vacuole pumps water out of cell. So contractile, what is the pumps water out of the cell? So extra water is released due to the actions of the contractile vacuole. So it protects the cells from osmotic lysis, because the freshwater protist lives in the freshwater, so there is always chance of the movement of water from outer environment to the inside the cell. Now third scenario, that in case of multicellular organism. So in case of multicellular organism, how do multicellular organism protect themselves from osmotic lysis? So blood plasma and interstitial fluid maintain osmotic balance with cell cytosol. Blood plasma and interstitial fluid maintain osmotic balance with cell cytosol. Albumin and several other proteins maintain the osmolarity of blood plasma. So albumin and several other proteins maintain the osmolarity of the blood plasma. On the other hand, cell membrane contain different proteins, or you can say channel protein, that pumps Na plus and several other ions out of the cell to maintain osmotic balance with the surrounding. So in case of blood plasma, interstitial fluid maintain the osmotic balance with the cell cytosol. So albumin and several other proteins act as a solute and maintain the osmolarity of the blood plasma. On the other hand, cell membrane contain different types of protein that pumps out Na plus and